Okay, hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Obviously, a disappointing day in Knoxville yesterday. Really was convinced we were going to play a lot better, particularly early in the game. Had a great week of practice, great focus in our walkthrough on Friday, great demeanor, mentality, focus in meetings. And then obviously it's a credit Tennessee and story of the first quarter and then the rest of the game. Certainly the first quarter, you can't go down 28-0 on the road. And went back and if you look in the first quarter stats in regards to first downs, points, and passing yards, I mean, they had 11 first downs, they had 28 points, they passed for 164 yards. They were 5 of 5 a third down, and we didn't do much didn't do a whole lot good on offense in the first quarter. Then you look at the second, third, and fourth quarter, we had more first downs the last three quarters of the game. We had more points the last three quarters of the game. We had 3 times as many passing yards the last three quarters of the game. We were about the same on third down, and that doesn't excuse the way we played in the first quarter, but the South Carolina football team that I know and that I know we can beat was the one that I saw the second, third, and fourth quarter. And then having said that, we got to play a whole lot better in those quarters as well. But proud of our guys, like I told you yesterday. Their demeanor and their mentality never changed, never worried about the scoreboard. They just competed, and was proud of that as we continue to learn how to win. And we showed lots of flashes of that with the way that we competed. And I truly felt like when we scored that touchdown, if we had made that 2-point conversion, they cut it to a 2-score game. Felt confident that we were going to win the football game, and we weren't able to get over the hump, and disappointed because we all expected to win that game. But we're not going to let one quarter define what this football team is. We've put way too much work into this thing for this thing to go the wrong direction. We got a bunch of fighters on this team and a bunch of kids that care about each other and love each other. You saw that yesterday. And we're excited. Just got off the practice field, had a nice practice tonight, and got a big challenge this week. Obviously, SEC game back home, and then our mindset and where we are as a football team as well. We got to get ourselves right without a doubt, because we were all disappointed with yesterday. Injury-wise, nothing major. We got a bunch of guys that are just beat up and banged up, as you would expect. That was a physical game yesterday, and we're 6 games into the season, so you're at the halfway point. And we got a bunch of guys that are beat up. No one that we think will not be able to play this Saturday by any stretch of the imagination, just some normal soreness and things like that. We expect Cam Smith to be back this week. Obviously, proud of our defensive backs that were in there yesterday, but it's also tough when you're playing a tempo team like Tennessee and you don't have your starting corner in Cam Smith, you don't have your starting defensive back and R.J. Roderick in the first half, and we certainly missed them for sure, just from a depth and leadership standpoint. But we expect Cam to be back, and proud of R.J. He really handled himself the right way this past week, sitting out, knowing he wasn't going to play in the first half, and then how he handled the first half mentally, and then the way that he played in the second half. He played his butt off, and I don't think it's any coincidence that he gets in there and we have 2 3-and-outs to start the second half and then get a stop on the third possession, and got to continue to build on that as well. But really excited about this football team. We're 3-3, and the story of the 2021 South Carolina football team is still being written, and it's up to us what we want that story to say here at the end of the season. So with that, be glad to answer any questions you guys have.
Hey, Shane, it's Dave. Looking back at some of the defense in the first quarter, it looked like you guys were playing off the receivers a good bit, giving them like a 5-10 yard cushion. Was that by design? Was that just to try to maybe keep them in front of you because of that tempo?
Yeah, a little bit of both, David. We were certainly too loose at times. One touchdown that was a little bit of a rub route, whatever you want to call it. Certainly we've got to be a little bit more snug on those receivers and challenge them a little bit more, especially in the with as RPO heavy as Tennessee is. We just can't let them run the ball and have easy access throws. And some of it was by design, some of it was just being a little too loose, and we've got to be better there for sure.
Shane, it's Ben. You mentioned RJ coming in. I guess just what is it that you saw from him that maybe made a difference second half defensively? I mean, was it getting a guy back who can make a lot of plays, or was it something schematically that you guys did too to kind of?
No, I think it's physicality, his ability to tackle. Some of their one of their touchdown runs, and then some of their explosive plays on the perimeter. We didn't do a great job of tackling. Second play of the game, they throw the ball over there on the sideline, and we overrun it a little bit and take a bad angle. And one of the touchdown runs, we had two guys, ball popped through there and got to the third level, and we didn't do a good job of corralling it. But I think just the physicality he brings to tackling, and then if anything, Ben, he's played a lot of snaps, and just the confidence that he plays with, and there's one play where I think it's a third down, and they run a little screen, and JJ and Jalen Foster combine on the tackle for a loss to get off the field, and that's a great play by RJ. They lined up in one formation. They saw what we were in. They changed the formation. They motioned. We had a blitz on. There's a whole lot of communication going on between the secondary and the linebackers, and RJ, they free release the running back, and RJ peels with him because that's where they're trying to go with the ball. Just little things like that just comes with game reps and experience. You saw that with him in the first half.
Shane, this is Colin.
In the second half, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Shane, this is Colin. I guess you mentioned this team's still kind of learning how to win. Is that something you guys can teach from as a coaching staff's perspective, or is that something that has to come with guys getting more reps, guys playing in a lot of these games and being in these situations?
I think it's just, a little bit of both, and just continue to instill confidence. And by no means am I saying that we're not a confident football team, because we are. But, we're also and when I say that, Colin, I mean all the things that go into winning during the week as well, not just on Saturdays. And then I've seen signs of that. I mean, teams mentally weak teams probably don't win the East Carolina game. Mentally weak teams probably don't win the Troy game. Mentally weak teams probably let that game get away from us and lose 63-0 yesterday. And we're not mentally weak. We're just continuing to try and get over the hump and get a little bit better each week. And we got to continue to put our guys in position to make plays. But, our guys, they battle each and every week, which I'm proud of, and we just got to, execute better, and that obviously goes into winning, execution and coaching and all that.
Hey, Shane, it's Corey. From a run game standpoint, is there any truth to having a solid performance and then carrying momentum of that over into the next game, which is 7 full days away? Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think each week is different. Obviously, I haven't looked at a whole lot of Vandy at this point, but Vandy's going to be different than Tennessee, and Tennessee was different than Troy, and Troy was different than Kentucky. So each week is different schematically, but certainly I think from the mindset of we did some good things in the run game yesterday. There's still a lot to clean up from the run game yesterday, but we moved the ball at times and had some explosive runs and did a lot of good things. So I certainly think you can build off that, and from a confidence standpoint, and from these were some of the schemes that were successful, and we need to continue to do that.
Hey Shane, it's Hale. Going back to that goal line sequence that ended with Jordan's pass, the first down play with the carry on, was that a run pass option? What was sort of the look there? Because it seemed like there were a couple of tight ends who kind of, I guess, free released and kind of were looking for maybe a pass over the top of those two defenders that got to the carry on.
Yeah, I would say they were looking for it because they were both standing wide open in the end zone. So yeah, that was a run pass option. He could have done a couple different things there, but certainly throwing it to the tight ends in the end zone was a possibility on that play. A couple little things that went into it. Obviously, he got a little bit more pressure in his face initially, Hale, which I think, they're barreling down on him pretty quickly, and it would have been a little bit more of a jump pass type throw, and I guess I don't think he felt comfortable necessarily making that, but could have been a run, could have been a pass, and we've got to clean it up a little bit, whether it be DK getting a little bit more depth away from the line of scrimmage so he can see that a little bit better, or just being willing to trust it and make that throw. But if he didn't feel confident making it, then we don't want him to make that throw. But that's something that we've been practicing and working since, I guess spring practice, but certainly preseason camp, that little package with him in there down there on the goal line.
Yeah, now obviously you said yesterday, hindsight, in 2020 with the play after that. With the sequence that led up to that, with the way you guys are running the ball, how do you feel like you guys were able to get that running game going, since obviously it had been a little bit of a struggle at times in the first 5 games?
Yeah, good schemes, good execution. We really preached to our guys just to be better about straining and finishing blocks, finishing plays this week. Offense, defense, and special teams, and I think you saw some of that. We played really, really hard yesterday, really hard, and wasn't always pretty. Played hard and strained, and I think you saw that in some of the success we had with the run game, particularly on that drive, and we got to continue to finish. We certainly. I think our yards per carry on that drive was above and beyond what you want it to be, and we certainly got to finish it, and didn't do a great job of finishing, obviously, and that wasn't a lack of confidence in our ability to run the football. We showed when we got down there on the goal line later in the game in the other end. We got in, a heavy set and tried to run the ball in a couple times and didn't get anywhere, and then on the third time, I think it was 4th down, we still lined up and ran the power play with Trey Jones at fullback and hammered it in there. So we have the ability to do that. We didn't do it early on, and that's on us, but that was what we saw from a run game standpoint leading up to that sequence.
Oh, sorry. Apologize. It's Phil Kornblut. In your first 3 games, you guys hit a lot of deep balls down the field. Not so much lately, except for the 44-yarder by Kai yesterday. You still feel the deep ball is part of your arsenal? Where do you think that's gone?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to continue to work and connect on the deep balls for sure. We have weapons at the receiver position. If you go back, I don't know if you've gone back and watched the entire game, every play or not, Phil. I'm sure you have by this point, but we had a lot of them called yesterday. We threw one down to Jalen Brooks on the sideline. We weren't able to connect with on the 4th down play late in the game. Luke ended up, running and scrambling it, but that was, a vertical concept and had guys open down the field, and we just weren't able to connect on it. So, yes, I do. If anything, I feel more confident. We got to continue to throw the ball down the field. Offenses in college football, in my opinion, aren't good enough to just dink and dunk and run the ball for 12-yard plays. You've got to create explosives, and we didn't do a good job of that yesterday.
Hey, Shane, Ben Branger, 2 quick ones. One, what was the exact nature of what kept Cam out, and also what does a guy like Rico Powers maybe have to do to kind of carve out a little bit more of a role in this offense? It seemed like he got a few snaps for a stretch there, and then those kind of tailed off a little.
Yeah, Rico's continuing to work and continuing to handle his business on and off the field, and has a great future here with Carolina. Proud of the way he's working. And then in regards to Cam, he got banged up a little bit the week before and just didn't feel completely comfortable playing in that game yesterday, so we didn't want to throw him in there if he didn't feel comfortable going out there.
Shane, it's Corey again. Kind of take us through a little bit, just working Trey in at the fullback spot there. Were there other guys that you guys, gave reps at that position in practice? Like, where did that formation sort of take its shape for you guys?
I think somebody had mentioned to Sad or Adkins last week that Trey had maybe done some of that in the past, either before Carolina or something. I'm not sure, but he's a good athlete. I mean, he runs well and is a good athlete. So you got to have a guy back there that's got some athleticism, and he does, and has a good future ahead of him here at Carolina. And really, it was just trying to get a bigger body in there at the fullback position, trying to hammer them a little bit. Talking about Tennessee, Jaheim has played some fullback for us. He played against Houston, Illinois, that we handed to him that got called back because of a penalty, I believe. But Jaheim's been in there at fullback some, and but we really don't have a true fullback on the team. So that's what it was, just an offensive lineman trying to get a bigger body in there, pound on Tennessee a little bit, and have a guy back there that's got enough athleticism to create some havoc in there. And he did a nice job. Ran a little ISO play with him early in the game, and then we had him down there on the goal line on that touchdown run on fourth down.
Shane, it's Hale again. I was kind of curious about some of those other offensive linemen who played in the second half. Was, I guess, Vinny Murphy and Wanamaker in particular. Was there anything going on with the other guys they checked in for? Or was that just kind of to get some guys some more looks? And how do you feel like they played after watching the film?
Thought they played great. We're about, you guys have seen it in this building, we're about accountability and we're about competition. And if guys practice well, we want to reward them and give them opportunities to play. And Vinny Murphy has spent a ton of time up here in this building preparing himself mentally for the opportunity to play, and has practiced really, really well. Tyshawn Wanamaker has practiced really, really well and continues to get better. And I'd throw Hank Manos in that group as well. Hank didn't get in there yesterday, but he's another one that has practiced really, really well and continues to get better, that we want to get in there and continue to get him opportunities to play. And that's not knocking any of the five offensive linemen that started the game. We certainly want to continue to develop depth at all positions as the season goes on and create competition at all positions. And those guys had practiced really, really hard, kind of like I talked about with E.J. Jenkins the week before, and they deserve the opportunity to get in there, and they got in there and played great. So good question. I'm glad you noticed it, and I'm proud of those guys and how they continue to work. I'd add on the defensive line, guys like M.J. Webb, Devontae Davis, they played a little bit more yesterday. They continue to work hard and get better. So we're constantly trying to improve and constantly trying to develop the depth on this football team, and it's good to see guys work really hard in practice, get rewarded with the opportunity to play, and then go out there and perform well. So thanks. See you guys on Tuesday. Take care.